Pro tip: don't remind someone to do something that they plan to do next time they encountered me, only then to just suffer more pain and exhaustion. Ugh, good thing that's over. Guess it's time to work at another cinema, called Cinemark. Oh boy, hope it won't leave a Cinemark. Wish me luck, peoples. Welcome to Cinemark Theaters. What movie would you like to see?
No, just no. We don't trust you giving us tickets to see Sonic 2. Goodbye. Hope you get fired, friend.
Bruh. Seriously, how many times are people going to come to places just to walk away once they notice me? Like seriously now. Welcome to Cinemark, and Cinematic Landmark. What's up?
I would like one, actually, 2 tickets to see the Lightyear movie, please.
Let me stop you right there. You want 1, maybe 2 tickets. Who would the second ticket be for then? There's only one of you.
For your information, the second ticket is for AJ, my crush. Can you give us 2 tickets to see that movie, please?
Nope, I refuse. Now please leave or suffer the consequences.
For the love of God, when will you go one day without any atrocity? You're more cruel than I thought last time we met.
I'll say never, for now. Welcome to Cinemark. What can I help you with, ma'am? Or should I say, what movie would you like to see?
I would like 1 ticket to see the new Top Gun Maverick movie, please.
I'm sorry, but we are sold out of tickets for that movie. Come back in a week.
Yo, don't lie to me, because one of the employees told me that tickets were available, and even on your website, tickets are available.
Ma'am, let me correct you there. The employee is lying. He hasn't checked the quantity counter, and we haven't updated our website. Can you leave me? You're starting to annoy me.
Says the one who's projecting things onto people that they are. You're probably one of the worst employees I have ever seen in my whole life.
Welcome to Cinemark. What's up?
Get lost, you widow.
Why did I act shocked there? I knew I saw it coming.
Huh, I guess you won't act shocked when I tell you the news. Boris, you're fired for lying to a couple of customers, and for acts of projections towards one of the staff members.
Well, you definitely got that right. I wasn't shocked at all, and yes, I was projecting lies onto people, but whatever, I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey guys. Before I end this video, I had to go through a lot last week. For starters, I tested positive for COVID last week, and I had to be quarantined for 5 days because of it. I'm not going to go into full details about it since my mom will have me delete this video if I do. But I did get tested today. And I did get tested negative this time. On Friday, I gave Kenny an attitude in my friend Ella's DM group over a conversation him and MJ were having with me about the way he was categorizing me and all of my friends' usernames that I wasn't understanding about. Although I was given a warning to not do that. But at least I did apologize. And the very next day on Saturday, which was right after my friend Tim Inations had that episode and argument with Chronicle Z, I lashed out at Chronicle Z in that same DM group over a lie he made up about him a few weeks ago. And for that, Kenny Foolish and other users in his DM group lashed out at me for it. And they told me at least 3 times to stop. But when I refused to listen, Foolish had no choice but to have a secret conversation with Ella on DMs along with MJ, and Ella told me in her DM group that she would be removing me from her DM group for the remainder of the month for what I did. Even though I had a reason to lash out at him for that lie he made up about my friend. But I could have just stayed out of it. Another reason why she removed me from her DM group for the rest of this month is due to me copying and pasting messages and for being told countless times to not add my bestie Sophie Cat in drama-related DM groups when she doesn't want to get involved in drama as well. This also goes for random DM groups. Even though I will not be bringing that up since I already made a video addressing about that in both the 129th and 130th episode of Bradley. Although I strongly disagree with them on the other reason, since Chronic has been starting beef and attacking Tim Inations and such for several hours in that other DM group. I didn't want him getting attacked further, yet most of my friends got mad at me just for defending him. When I had every right to. My friend even got mad at me because of how many times I defend him from situations like that and such, and he also made a good point about how I pissed him off because of my behavior towards him. Which I don't blame him for saying that, since what he said was the truth. And shortly after, Ella removed me from her DM group and shortly after banned me from her Discord server. And I won't ball back in her DM group and her server until the month is over with. She also mentioned in her stream that she did that day that I'm also banned from her streams for the rest of the month too. Along with Foolish's streams. Foolish also has me banned from his streams for this too. But this was also because of the suicide narratives that I was doing. Which I will get into later. Later on that night, which was hours after that situation happened, I had all of my electronics taken away from me that night, not just because of that reason, but it was also for other reasons that I'm not going into since those reasons are personal. But the very next day, on Sunday, I ended up having a mental breakdown on Discord all day because of what I did yesterday, and I was taking the punishment that I was given by Ella and Foolish way too literally and way too seriously. I started off that morning by using a bunch of suicide narratives towards a lot of my friends on Discord, including mostly to one of them about why I deserved this punishment from yesterday, and went out of the line and sent a bunch of images and gifs about what I wanted to do to myself. And I started talking about my friends in the community, including the ones I'm friends with, wanting to do something to be as my punishment from yesterday by beating me with something which leads to death, slamming their flat screen TV of theirs onto my face. Beating me up in public. Will Smith slapping me across the face, and even getting yelled at by Foolish to the point where I pass out. I was being way too fat with that after I got punished for getting involved in the chronic beef. Although what I did was wrong. But my friends would not go as far as to doing anything that bad to me, like slamming a flat screen TV on me and stuff like that, and it was also due to how over-dramatic I was acting. I also started using suicide narratives to my friends in very graphic and non-verbal and verbal responses. Which a lot of that I typed in all caps. It got so far to the point that one friend of mine had to be on break from using Discord for the remainder of the day because of that. With one friend of mine actually yelling at me. And it's so much to me that to admit to using suicide and such, and my mental breakdown and such, and why I aggressively admitted to saying that I deserved that punishment from Ella by me getting removed from her DM group and her Discord server, and despite how I had my stuff taken away that night for that reason, although I won't be out the actual reason into why my stuff was taken away. However, when I admitted into how crazy and mentally insane to what I was acting that day in a DM group, it didn't go down too well after one of my friends got mad at me for it. And I got confronted in a DM group for it. Especially by a former friend of mine that I won't be naming. One of my friends that was confronting me pointed out that I was using suicide narratives with the way that I was acting that day due to what I did on Saturday. And he also told me that punishing myself and saying all this stuff, saying that I deserved to be punished for what I did on Saturday and such, also counts as using suicide narratives. It got to the point that he had to warn me in a Discord server for it, and that's when I got confronted for it in the same DM group Kenny is the owner of. Although the confrontation lasted for hours, I did get yelled at by a few users because of it. But showed how disappointed in me by the way I was acting all day that day, with me not just using suicide narratives but for acting mentally insane by talking about how I deserved this punishment and how I wanted my friends to do something very bad to me for that reason. Although I do regret saying those things due to how insane that I was acting that day, and it was also because of me having my stuff taken away that evening for that same reason. And I didn't tell any of them in the DM group that having my stuff taken away was the main reason for that, also because of happened against me back in August last year that I don't want to get into. Most of you already know that happened in August last year, but I would not go into that. But there was a specific reason why I didn't tell them about my stuff getting taken away, with that being part of the reason. Because in August when I told them that reason, that's when I had users like Foolish and them lash out at me, and that's when I got hated for that at the time. and which was also the main reason that time into why I got attacked. Although that was something I was supposed to keep to myself at the time. I did make a very big mistake with that in November last year, which I deeply regret. But that was during the time I got a lot of hate that time for victimizing Jacob, even though I will not be bringing that up since he already forgave me for that in February after an apology video he made on me. But my mom did tell me a few months ago to stop using suicide narratives on myself and any of my friends on Discord and such whenever she takes my stuff from me and such. Since I'm mostly known to do that a lot, especially when I just did that with what I just went over. Although I did apologize for that in the DM group. Especially for those suicide narratives that I was using and for that mental breakdown I had all day last Sunday. But Foolish did have to ban me from his streams for that, especially for the same reason Ella banned me from her group and server for, even though I already went over that earlier. But I'm not going to talk about this further due to the situation that happened back in February this year. Even though I will be bringing up that since I was nearly forced by my mom to delete my channel that month for using suicide narratives to most of my friends on Discord over her taking my electronics away, after I admitted it to her and right after she discovered my friend streaming on me that night for that exact same reason that I mentioned about that. Which my mom had to go on my account and get him to change the title of his stream because of the suicide narratives that I was pulling on him and the rest of my friends over my electronics being taken away. And I already made a video addressing about that in my friend Skylrix's birthday special that I released back in March. I would bring up what happened back in August. But right after I was using suicide narratives that time over my stuff being taken away, I was being homophobic to my friend Miles by calling him the F-A word 2 days after I was punished. Which I ended up getting called out by Foolish Mortal on YouTube for that, and I got a very big hate base for it. Even though I did apologize to Miles on a call a few days later for what I did, and he did accept my apology. But Miles wasn't the only user I had to apologize to. I also had to apologize to the entire LGBTQ for offending them too. Just like when my friend Kim had to do that back in September 2 years ago. Even though I will not be going into that, but one of them did forgive me. Which is one of my friends who is part of the LGBTQ community that I normally talk to from time to time. But besides the point. I'm going to leave the suicide narratives off the internet since that will get me called out for that. One of my friend actually almost did call me out for that. But ever since he made that post calling me out in February, which got me in serious trouble by my mom in real life for that. He's not allowed to make posts like that out of me anymore. Despite how much that embarrassed me. But I already made a video addressing about in March. So I'm not going to address about this again, but I was given in a warning in a server to stop. And I'm glad I didn't give them the reason that the main reason was due to my stuff getting taken away, since they don't need to know any of that since that is personal and I would get yelled at and lashed at even more. But I did apologize in the DM group. And I promised to all of my friends in there that I won't be using suicide narratives to any of my friends ever again or talk to them about harming myself and stuff, going into a mental suicidal breakdown and going mentally insane on Discord to all of my friends on DMs and such. Especially how serious suicide is. And I also went way too war in my last video that I released due to all that cussing and raging that I was doing in there. Also, since I didn't like that unfair reason into why they removed me from Ella's DM group despite those other reasons being true reasons into why I was removed from there with what I agreed with them on. I also went insane in that video due to my electronics being taken away that night due to personal issues that I won't be getting into. Which is another reason why I wasn't able to this episode out yet or any of my other videos out yet. But for now, I'm okay now. I'll be sure next time to take full control of my anger whenever I get angry, or over something I want to punish myself for, over something I got punished for by keeping all of that private. Even one of them scared one of my besties, Sophie, and her along with Miles told Foolish on me. Which I did have to apologize to Sophie after she crying and had to apologize to Miles after he got mad at me. But besides the point, I did apologize. And I won't be any of that again. Although I have calmed down from that after I was confronted last Sunday on Father's Day, but I regret doing all of that for the entire day, especially because of my stuff being taken away. For now I'm going to get my other videos out now and take my mind off what happened that day. And I was banned from another friend of mine's stream last week, not because of what I did with the narratives. Because of the reason that got me removed from Ella's DM group. But I've already gotten off that topic. And I won't be back in there until July 1st for what I did last Saturday. So for now, this is me, Elias D, signing off.
I ain't feeling lonely, and I wanna admit it's time to end the ride. Fading it too slowly, with those gonna lift me up this time. You were the only one who got me tripping up inside. All the words you told me, am I reading something different from your eyes? See you